All right, folks, welcome back. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. This is your Rams post-game show brought to you by Bleacher Report. And today we are going to be talking about the Rams loss today, 30-23. And we are going to be naming some winners and losers. Before we get into it, you can go and follow me at JK Bogan if you like any of my content. I cover the Rams all over the place, whether that's Turf Show Times writing or I'm hosting Believe in Rams with Cam Lynch for Downtown podcast with Alexis or my YouTube channel. So that's where you can find all my content. So the Rams did unfortunately fall in this one, ninth straight regular season loss to the San Francisco 49ers. I understand a lot of people are going to be upset by this, and this is definitely not a great thing to feel. But I will start and I will preface it with this is rebuilding team. Now they can call it a remodel all they want. And, maybe that's what you call something when you're rebuilding and you're expecting to be really good, essentially next year when all of that cap space comes back. But in reality, this is a rebuilding team that's trying to win while rebuilding right on the fly. And some great things. I came away very impressed with this Rams team. I think my first winner of the day, and I know some people are going to have an issue with it, but Kyren Williams is a winner. Okay, so Cam Akers in today, and we find out that he is deactivated. He is not going to play. He's going to be a healthy scratch. It sounds like he did not adhere to essentially what it takes to win in this organization, and he didn't adhere to what was expected of him, essentially. He's just not a fit moving forward. So the winner here by default would be Cam Akers. Kyren Williams. The loser would be Cam Akers. I think when you look at Kyren Williams today becoming a starting running back, 14 carries for 52 yards and a touchdown on the ground against a really good 49ers run defense. Then you look at what he did in the passing game. He had 10 targets, 6 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. He did have a crucial drop that turned into an interception. But I do have to say, interception or not, Kyren Williams had himself a day, and he continued with his 2 touchdown performance, back-to-back 2 touchdown performances, which you love to see in the young running back. I'm exactly happy with the way things went with Kyren in that regard, dropping that, but I don't think that's ultimately why the Rams lost. There are multiple factors, and we will get into that. Another winner, Puka Nacua. He had 20 targets in this game. So he looked at last week and said, you know what? 15 targets isn't enough. I'm going to get 20 this week. He's had 35 targets and he's caught 25 of them in the last 2 games. He actually has the most catches in the first 2 games of anybody for the history of the NFL. He had 15 catches for 147 yards in this game and has truly taken over as the Cooper Kupp of the offense. He is absolutely a winner today, and he deserves a lot of praise for what he's been able to do for this offense, moving the chains, breaking tackles, finding the soft spot in the zone and getting open. The one thing I will say is that I have concerns about his injury and I have concerns about his drops. But I is something, it's hard to knock him for his drops when he's catching 15 balls in a game, right? So all in all, 15, 147. He'll get that touchdown eventually. Love what I saw at Puka Nacua. And hopefully he's going to be okay for next week. I know he's really banged up towards the end of that game. He stuck it out. This is probably going to be something that lingers throughout the week, but hopefully he's good to go for Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals in week 3. A loser in that regard would be Van Jefferson. That's back-to-back weeks, really underperforming. 4 targets. He only caught 1 pass for 9 yards. Look, I've been very high on Van Jefferson throughout his career. He's a great route runner coming out of Florida. He ran the fastest time of anybody at the Senior Bowl. That's faster than Denzel Mims, who ran a 4.3. That was faster than Devin Duvernay, who ran a 4.3. And so, looking at Van Jefferson, coming out, I really felt like this was somebody that, okay, we're going to see really good things from. And his second year, after he was buried his first year, his second year as the 5th option, he comes away with 800 yards. His 3rd season, pretty much all injuries. Then at the end of the year, he comes on a little bit. This year, it's off to the worst of starts. going and only catching 5 passes in the last 2 games. This one, he caught 1 pass for 9 yards. He had some crucial drops. This is not a good place to be in if you're Van Jefferson right now. But that basically goes without saying. So loser in this one, Van. Winner in this one, Puka Nacua. Another winner is Tutu Atwell. He caught 7 of 9 targets for 77 yards. And I'm just going to be honest with you. Tutu showed you tonight that he can be used all over the field. He is for real, just like Puka Nacua. If you are coming down with 147 yards on 15 receptions and 7 catches for 77 yards, to me, when I look at Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell, I get excited for what's to come when Cooper Kupp enters the fray. Unfortunately, going back to the loser in this, Van Jefferson is in a really bad spot now. Just like Cam Akers, he could be seeing himself on his way out. He is done after the season. His contract expires. He's a 2nd rounder, so they can't pick up his 5th-year option or anything. There's no 5th-year option for a 2nd rounder. And furthermore, there's going to be a lot of wide receivers available, potentially a T. Higgins. Rams should decide to go out and grab somebody. So this is not a good look for Van Jefferson right now. But if you want to have the good news on this side, it's that Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua look like the real deals. And when you see Tutu Atwell today snaring, a pass that was, out of its radius, just an incredible job. I think Tutu Atwell today got a lot more respect from the people that said he didn't have hands. I would say that. So he would be a winner. Van is a loser, but I also have to say that Tyler Higbee was a loser in this one. He's had success in the past, the 49ers. This one, they needed more out of him. Simply just did not do enough. 7 targets, 3 receptions for 12 yards. He's a loser in this one. And we move on. So here's the thing. I was really, really, really impressed with Byron Young, who came away with a sack in this game. I think Byron Young is growing up right in front of our eyes. Okay. Byron Young isn't that old. He's not that young. Keep in mind, he is, I believe, 25. So he's one of the older pass rushers of this draft. But when you see him coming out and you see that speed, you see his ability to go sideline to sideline, it's truly to watch. And so when I look at Byron Young, to me, he's just getting better each week. We saw it in preseason. We saw it last week, and now we see it this week. I think he really is. He's got that spot locked down. I was impressed with also, Michael Hoyt. I thought he was a little bit better on the edge. I do still think the Rams needed edge defender at the deadline or whatever. If this game doesn't prove it, I don't know what will. This team can compete with the BM, and they easily could have won this game today if a few things went differently. I also was really impressed. I mean, it's not easy, right? But I was really impressed with Darion Kendrick. Okay. It's not easy to cover the guys he had to cover, and you could say he was burned a little bit, but that's part of the thing about playing corner is that you're going to have those moments where you do get burned. I think Darion Kendrick has just basically put his foot on the gas pedal at this point and just slammed it right down to the metal. He is not going to give up this at all. He's not going to give up this position. He earned it as a 6th rounder last year. He's not going to give it up to Trey Tomlinson. He's just not going to do it. So I'm really impressed with the way he's battled. He's fought. He's gone up against really, really tough. Because here's the thing, okay? Darion Kendrick isn't going against your mill wide receiver. He's going against, when you look at it, he's going against Ayuk. He's going against DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, Tyler Lockett. I mean, these are really good receivers, and it's only going to make him better. So to start the season out, haymaker after haymaker, star after star, this is a good thing for him, and I think it's going to bode well moving forward. So I was really impressed with those guys. I thought they were winners. I also really liked what I saw at Jonah Williams. He was really disciplined, in his assignments, and, was able to have a really nice stuff. I think he did get a yard, so it doesn't count as a tackle for a loss, but he was able to blow up a Deebo Samuel screen. Really liked what I saw out of the young defensive lineman in Jonah Williams. So at the end of the day, the Rams technically are losers in this one. They lost, but I think, all together, you have Cam Akers, you have Van Jefferson, you have Tyler Higbee. Unfortunately, I'm going to say a loser in this one, not because he played bad, but Matthew Stafford. The guy got tagged with an interception that essentially he threw a good ball and it got tipped up in the air. There's nothing you could do about that. So I thought he played well. He to win the game. The interception was, obviously not great, but he really only threw one true interception, but he's a loser based on the stats, I would say. Based on what people are going to say, based on the narrative, he'd be considered a loser because unfortunately, he's going to get hit with that. So that is the winner or losers there. Let's just talk real quick about my thoughts on this game, though. When you look at the Rams, and obviously last week, right, I felt really good going into last week. This week, I felt like this could be interesting. I never really felt like they were going to win. I had the 49ers winning 28-24. So that's a 4-point win, and the Rams lost 30-23. This is going to be one of those games you look back on and you're like, this is a game that really molded the Rams, because you learn more in your losses than you do in your wins. And I'll tell you right now, the best thing they could have done was knowing by before week two, that Cam Akers is not a fit. Don't waste any time on the run game if you don't feel like the guy that is supposed to be your running back is a fit for you. Kyren Williams proved to be a way better fit in their new scheme, their new run blocking scheme and everything. But most importantly, I can't stress it enough. When Kyren Williams was in there, the 49ers had to be aware of the pass. They had to be aware of the run, and they had to be aware that this guy can actually pass protect. And so it kept all the options available. But when Cam Akers was in there last week, 22 out of the 28 times he was on the field were run plays that he took the carry. And so it kind of mixes up your pitches a little bit. And I think that kept the 49ers guessing. I thought they did a great job using Tutu Atwell in motion. They got some great looks. They got him open. They also carved out some space by putting him in motion. It got the attention of the defense. They overkeyed in on Tutu Atwell, and it set up a open field for a guy like, Puka Nacua. So, I think when you look at everything, there's a lot of good to take away from this game. Sean McVay has really figured out how to call a balanced game. People will say he went away from the run. The only time he really went away from the run is when they lost. First off, they lost Noteboom. So that was awful. And Ankrum came in, and Ankrum's not bad, but he's not Noteboom, and we saw that. But I think the second thing is they went down. And when you're down, it's like it's hard to run now, because now you're trailing, and basically you're the one you're basically milking the clock. And if you're losing, you don't want to control that clock and run the clock down. So I think it's important to realize that the Rams lost this game because, and obviously the 49ers are a more talented team. They have a different mindset right now. They are all in. They, went out and they got Christian McCaffrey last year. Like, they are all in. They're trying to win a Super Bowl. They paid a ton of money up front to Javon Hargrave. I didn't even know they could afford. So here's the point. You're playing a team that is thinking Super Bowl. And the Rams right now are thinking 2024, as all those reports would show. But they're still trying to win football games. They're trying to do what they can. This is not the Rams in their quote unquote final form. And I think that's really important to realize as we move forward throughout the season. You're going to see your peaks. You're going to see your valleys. You're going to see your good. You're going to see your ugly. It's going to happen. But I will tell you that they're going to be competitive in every single game. And today proved that. The 49ers went into Pittsburgh last week, cross-country trip, in an environment where, first off, the 49ers aren't normally great cross-country, and second, they're notoriously bad to start the season. But instead, they came out and they really kicked the Steelers' teeth in. So to see the Rams beat the Seahawks last week, and then to see them, this 49er team that just kicked the teeth in of a really good Steelers team, in my opinion, I think they're a really good team, to see what they did today and to be in this game and to arguably should have won this game, that tells you all you need to know. So, no, I wouldn't be upset about this game. I mean, you could be upset. Obviously, a loss isn't great. I'm not telling you how to feel. But I wouldn't be like worried about the Rams. I wouldn't be worried. They weren't supposed to win this game. They're not the better team, but they looked like the better team the majority of the day. I think that's fair to say. The Rams, if things went a little bit different, if no boom doesn't go down, if Kyron Williams makes that catch or the ball gets tipped and it doesn't go right into a 49er defender's arms, who knows what happens? And I think that's the thing about football. You know, it's about winning those games. Your record is what you truly are. Because during the Fisher era, you could sit there and say, man, we should have won that game. We should have won that game. We should have won that game. We should have won that game means that's like, okay, that's great. Games are won and lost by 2 to 4 plays. And in this one, it really felt that. So moving forward, the Rams have a lot to build off of. And the hope is that Noteboom is going to be okay. Noteboom needs to be okay. If Noteboom's okay, I think they're going to be in good shape. Ankrum is still good enough to play, and Dotson is also good enough to play, but they really do want Noteboom there for his athleticism to be able to slide over after having that double team block. He's got to have to be able to slide over and cover, and that's something that Ankrum struggled with. And once Noteboom went down, the floodgates opened for the 49ers. So, I mean, when you look at this young defense that people were saying was going to be the worst in the league, this team that people were saying was going to tank for Caleb Williams, I'll tell you right now, guys, held Brock Purdy to 206 passing yards, right? He was sacked once, didn't throw a touchdown. This is the first time in his career, I believe, he didn't throw a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, he looked great. They kind of went away from him. He was the one I was worried about because Christian McCaffrey, you take away the 51-yard explosive, and maybe he doesn't have the day he has, but who knows? Deebo Samuel had a touchdown. Purdy had a touchdown rushing. But you'll take this. I mean, you held Deebo Samuel to 6 catches for 63. Jawan Jennings, 2 catches for 51. Ayuk had 2 touchdowns last week and was the number 1 receiver in the league last week, and he had 3 catches for 43 yards. You held Kittle to 3 catches for 30. I mean, this is good. This is improvement. You want to see this moving forward. Only 1 sack given up, and it was Fred Warner. I mean, the 2 interceptions, it sucks. Lenore was a complete, it just goes up in the air. It's tipped and everything. But the Rams really gave the 49ers a ball game. And for a team that is widely regarded as one of the top teams, I understand it's a rivalry game, but the Rams really gave it all they could. So I have to give credit where credit's due. Macaron Tony says, let's keep it 100. If Puka doesn't have Stafford, he's not getting this at all. He's the one common denominator in all these receivers breaking records. I agree. I think Puka's really good, but I think people don't understand just how good Matthew Stafford really is and how he elevates everyone around him. But I do think Puka's about to ascend. And I do think Tutu Atwell's ascending. And I do think those guys with Cooper Kupp is going to work better than people think. Because everyone assumes what's going to happen when Kupp gets there. Unfortunately, back to the winners and losers, unfortunately, Van Jefferson is probably going to have to take a back seat. So that's the vibe I'm getting. That's basically what I'm saying moving forward. It's not ideal. I get it, but that's what, that's going to happen. I would have liked to see them stick with the run a little bit more, but I do understand they were down. It changes everything that they were doing right here. So I get it. I think Kyron will get more carries moving forward. I think he can handle the workload, and definitely today showed that. Really was in most of the time. I thought he did a nice job in pass pro. Really nice stuff from Skoranek as well. Had a nice reverse. I thought we would see more usage of him, but this is where we're at right now. This is your 2023 Rams. They're going to be in every game. They may not win every game, but they're going to be in every game, and I'm very excited to see what that outcome is. I believe it's a 10-7 record. I believe Tutu Atwell finishes with 1,000 yards, like I said before the season. I believe the Rams are going to be a top 5 offense, like I said before the season. I believe the Rams are going to trade for an edge defender, like I said before the season. I believe the Rams are going to have a run back to the playoffs, and they're going to win and get to the divisional round of the playoffs. That's what I said. All of that I said before the season on Bleacher Report. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to follow. Next week, you got the 0-2 Bengals, who just do not look like the same football team. I picked them to win the Super Bowl, and right now I look like an idiot. So we'll see what ends up happening. Should be an interesting game on Monday night. Obviously, they want a little revenge, right? Obviously, a different team, but you still see that jersey. You still see those uniforms, and you think back to the Super Bowl. So they're going to want the revenge. And they need it. I mean, 0-2 right now, they're in a bad hole. They need to get out of it. Joe Burrow, reportedly nicked up his calf. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I really do feel like if you take away anything from this game, this team is going to battle, and you should feel good about it. This is not the most perfect defense by any stretch. People have been making fun of it all off season, and yet you gave up 30 points to San Francisco, although it wasn't the 30 that you would have expected. They've really just done a nice job, in the first 2 games of the season. San Francisco's a tough team, but they hung in there. They had some key moments, and they gave the Rams a chance to win at the end of the day, and that's all you could ask for. So it sucks, and I understand why a lot of people are going to be upset. But again, I think the Rams are going to be okay, and I do think the Rams are going to look at this. To me, the players came out, they've made a statement, the coach made a statement, and I got to tell you right now, I'm just going to say it, moving forward, this team, not only are they not tanking, this team made a statement today and last week, and they will probably make one on Monday Night Football. This team wants to compete. And if you can find somebody at the trade deadline or before it that fits into the long-term plans while also fitting into now and making this team better, you go ahead and you do that. And that's what I expect moving forward. I expect the Rams to do that. I think they're going to be looking. I don't know if it's next week. I don't know if it's tomorrow. I don't know if it's at the deadline, but I definitely think the Rams are going to make a play to make this roster better. And it makes a lot of sense. But anyway, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. This has been your post-game show on Bleacher Report. And this has been week 2, winners and losers. Rams fall 30-23. Join me next week after the Bengals and Rams Monday Night Football game, and I will be breaking down the week 3 winners and losers and my thoughts from that game. You guys can check me out over on YouTube as well as on Twitter. Follow me at JK Bogan for more info, and I will see you guys soon. Take care, everybody. Later, folks.